And I don't think I really need to give introduction in any way to Jeff. Most of us know what's going on with Jeff, and we're going to hear that tonight and what the Lord's been doing. But his daddy was one of my good friends. Dub was, when I first got out of high school and didn't do college well, I came back and worked for Brother Henderson for a little while, and Dub was the parts man. And let me just say, we had a ball. There's no one like Dub. And so I didn't know Jeff as well. But getting to know him, it's been quite a pleasure. And I just thank him for coming and sharing with us tonight. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you. But I would like to pray for us before we get started. That'd be okay? And I'm going to go ahead and cover the food and all that kind of stuff. My gracious Heavenly Father, I love you so much, and I thank you so much for tonight. I think that you've carved out this time in history for us to be in this place. And I just thank you for Jeff and his testimony, and I thank you for what you've done in his life and what you're doing in his life and what you're going to do in his life. And so, Lord, I just pray as he speaks tonight, you would just allow the Holy Spirit just to move through him to speak, Lord, to the hearts. I pray for the hearts that are in this room, if they don't know you and if they don't really know you, Lord, I pray you'd speak loud. We have words and we can holler, but Lord, only you can move a heart, and we know that. And Lord, I just thank you for each man that's represented in here, because he represents what you've created for a manhood, for authority, for a warrior. And I pray, God, that we would understand that you've made us the head of our families, the head of our households, and Lord, even in the church. So Lord, I pray we'd resemble that, we would honor that, and we'd live that out. But Lord, I thank you again for those that have prepared food all day and worked on that. Lord, I just pray you'd continue to bless that. As we come to this time of what we really came for, the food's just secondary. What we come for now, we've come to lift our brother up and allow him to lift us up through your word, through music and through all the gifts that you've given him. Lord, I just pray you'd be with us tonight. In Jesus' name I pray. And everybody said, amen.
I appreciate this opportunity so much tonight. I'm gonna be looking this way because I can't see the words if I don't have some light on. This whole time, everything I'm going through, which I'm gonna talk about in a little while, the whole way the devil's been telling me, even today, as I was thinking about it this weekend, even today when I got ready to come up here, that old devil's been talking behind my back, talking in my ear. Telling me you don't really need to go up there. Nobody wants to hear what you got to say. And I know that's a lie. The devil will never tell you the truth, and God will never tell you a lie. Y'all know that. And he is a liar. And as I was outside, I took my guitar in the yard, John, up under the carport, and I tuned it up. What's the first thing happened? Broke a string. I said, "You rascal, get out of here." And luckily, I had a set of strings in my case, and so I had to change the guitar string before I come up here. So that's him right then. Let me get a little closer, Tracy. I'm gonna use this other one up here. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, he wants a double mic. Like I said, that was just one of those things that devil's working against us at all times. And I'm gonna get into that a little more in a minute. I'm gonna sing for y'all tonight. I went up to the Methodist Church a couple of Sundays ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Pierre asked me about coming up there, and he had introduced me as a talented man, more talented than he was. I took that as an accomplishment, because y'all know Pierre, he can do most anything, fly an airplane and all that stuff. But I never got the guitar out the case. I talked 40 minutes. I didn't even realize I spoke that long. Now, Reb, I cut it short with you Thursday morning. I think I went to maybe 20, 25 minutes, I think. But tonight, I hope that I keep it in a reasonable time frame with y'all, with being able to tell y'all what God put on my heart and done in my life. So Tim Moore is responsible for me singing tonight. He said I got to sing. He comes to church to hear me sing on Sunday night and other reasons. I'll sing a couple of songs that I'm just like John. I like good lyrics in a song, and that's what I listen for when I hear a song. Certain songs talk to me, and this first song is "I Can't Even Walk Without You Holding My Hand." And when we figure that out, we always turn out to be a whole lot better off. Because so long we try to do things on our own. And this journey I'm going through right now, even my life, but right now this journey I'm going through, I know I can't do it without him. And I'm going to share a little bit of that in a minute. But I'm going to go ahead and sing a couple of songs here if y'all let me. I thought number one would surely be me. I thought I could be what I wanted to be. I thought I could build on life's sinking sand, but I can't even walk without you holding my hand. I can't even walk without you holding my hand. The mountains too high and the valleys too wide. Down on my knees I learned to stand. Lord, I can't even walk without you holding my hand. I thought I had done a lot on my own. I thought I could make it all alone. I thought of myself as a mighty big man, but I can't even walk without you holding my hand. I can't even walk without you holding my hand. The mountains too high and the valleys too wide. Down on my knees I learned to stand. Lord, I can't even walk without you holding my hand. Lord, I can't even walk without you holding my hand. The sooner we realize that, the better off we are. We can't do nothing without God. And like I said, I'll talk about that a little more in a minute. This song I'm fit to try now, I know Dana knows it, Tim knows it. The first time I heard it, I loved the lyrics to it. It's called Drinking from My Saucer, because my cup is overflowed. And we got so much to be blessed for. I don't sing this song a lot, not as much as I want to, so I may mix the words up a little bit, but I hope it speaks to you tonight. I've never made a fortune. It's probably too late now, but I don't worry about that much, 'cause I'm happy anyhow. As I go along life's journey, I'm reaping better than I sowed. I'm drinking from my saucer, 'cause my cup has overflowed. Ain't got a lot of riches, sometimes the going's rough, but I've got a friend in Jesus, and that makes me rich enough. I thank God for all his blessings on me and the mercy he's bestowed. I'm drinking from my saucer, my cup has overflowed. Oh, sure, I've been through some storms. And yes, I'm sure there were times when my faith must have got a little thin. But you know what it seemed like one day all at once? Those dark clouds broke. And that old sun started shining again. So Lord, help me not to grumble and complain about the tough road that I've hoed. I'm drinking from my saucer, 'cause my cup has overflowed. And if I should go on living, if the way gets steep and rough, I won't ask for other blessings, 'cause I'm already blessed enough. May I never be too busy to help another bear his load. I keep drinking from my saucer, 'cause my cup has overflowed. I keep drinking from my saucer, 'cause my cup has overflowed. I had 3 prepared, but I'm going to do 2 because I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to carry y'all too long. I'm going to start out, like I said, the devil tells me every day, nobody wants to hear what you got to say. Nobody wants to hear what you've been through and all this stuff. You put all this burden on yourself. A lot of it I did. I'm going to start out from the beginning. I didn't start out from the beginning, Pastor came the other morning. But I grew up in church. My mama, she made sure I was in church every Sunday. Mr. Wayne knows. I went to Providence out there with them. And back in the day, we had a big group, youth group. We had a lot of people going out there in the big city of Grange. But since then, it's just like all the other churches. It's kind of come down. Numbers are not like they used to be. But we were in church. And growing up, that was one of the things we did on Sunday. Well, as I got older, just like a lot of other folks, I didn't think church was that important anymore. I was able to make my own decisions, so I learned how to play the guitar. I was playing one day in a barn. We was out in the middle of the country, and these guys, they were carpenters and brick masons. They heard me playing. Me and another guy, he was playing the drums, and I was playing the guitar. We were doing Wipeout. He come down and he said, "Man, you play that guitar? How old are you?" I said, 17. "You want to come to my garage and play with us?" I'm like, "Sure." I was 17 years old. Well, they were all in their 30s and 40s. So y'all know where that led. We wonder if we can get him in the club. So, yeah, they got me in the club. I even had a state patrolman playing drums for me back then. And some of y'all in this room know who he was, but so he's passed since then, but he was my drummer. So I didn't have a problem about getting in the club back then. After that, he became a drug and alcohol agent. So they said, "How old is that boy?" "He's old enough." That's all it took. So that's when my life changed, playing in the honky tonks. I would play on Saturday night, Friday, Saturday night, go to church, play on Sunday morning, play on the radio. That's just the life I lived. But I was just as lost. I would have died and went to hell, without a doubt, burned up the rest of my life. And then, as I found my wife, we celebrated our anniversary this past Wednesday. It was 26 years. I was sitting in the chemo chair. She was holding my hand on my anniversary. And that's a good woman. She's been with me through this whole thing. And as I got married, we had a child. And that's where everything kind of changed. I got a friend right now at work that's going through the same thing. He's got twins that's at 25 weeks. They're trying to keep them from being born right now, trying to keep them in their mama. But my son, y'all know him, that little bitty fella back in the back, he was 2 pounds 8 ounces when he was born, 27 weeks. So that's when my life kind of changed. It wasn't about me anymore. I was still doing everything I wanted to do, living like I wanted to live. And the devil told me that was good. You can do whatever you want to do and go to church on Sunday and be okay, which I wasn't doing. I got to the point where I wasn't going to church. Well, after I got married, I met my wife. Thank God she was at Wadley Baptist, and she got me going back to church. So God used her. They said nothing good ever comes out of honky-tonk. We met in the honky-tonk, and we married. So she got me out of the honky-tonk. I got her out of that kind of life too. Ever since then, God's been so good to me. And with my son being born like he was, I just worked at Thermo King back then. I was a welder. I dropped that welding helmet. It was me and the devil. It wasn't me and God. It was me and the devil. He talked to me all day long. He just constantly talked in the back of my mind everything I did wrong. And I was lost at that time. I'm sitting there thinking, why is God punishing me so bad? What have I done so bad to have my son born like this? I begged God. I said, take it off from him and put it on me, because y'all know when it's about your children. But we lived in Wiley at the time on Green Street, and 70 days he stayed in the hospital. So I went back into the Augusta 70 days in a row. I would get off from Thermo King, and she would meet me, and I'd change clothes. We'd go see him, and we'd stay just as long as we could till they run us out from over there. And he came home, weighed 4 pounds when he came home, and thought everything was going to be fine. I was still lost. Hadn't been saved at that time. But God was blessing me that whole time. Even though I was turning my back on him, I wasn't giving it to God. I was listening to everything the devil said. He never left me through that whole process. That whole time in my life, he was good to me, just like we all know that he is. He's a God of second, third, and 90th chances, you know. We all need those chances. But after he came home, turned a year old, they told us, they said, well, he's got to have lung surgery. I said, lung surgery? He's been in the hospital for 70 days, you know. I'm thinking, where's this going to end? This whole time. And when he was a year old, they took a third of his right lung off and the bottom lobe of his lung. Through all that, I was still lost. And the whole time, God was working on me. He was telling me. I was sitting on church on Sunday morning. He was hitting me in the back, trying to get me to get up, but I wouldn't get up. I wouldn't move. I said, I know I need to be saved, but I wouldn't move, real. I just sat right there. Well, one Sunday morning, the pastor, something just felt different that morning. And I got up that morning. I felt that sharp hit in my back. I couldn't sit down no longer, no matter how hard I tried. I got up and accepted to Christ that morning and was baptized in Wallet at the church. And that's when everything started. I was in the church then, and they found out I could play the guitar, so I started using my talents not in the honky-tonks anymore. I started playing in church. And preacher tell me, you got it easy. You got a talent that you know what it is, and you're giving your talents to God. It is kind of easy for me because I enjoy playing. But at the same time, like I said, that's 22 years ago when I got saved. And I remember the morning just as good. Like I said, fast forward 22 years now. I'm gonna tell you how God works. I got to feeling sick, and I told my wife. I said, I feel like I'm more tired in the morning when I get up than when I go to bed. She said, well, you might need to get a sleep study done. I said, I need to have something done because I said, I ain't sleeping with nothing. So, you know how men are. We don't want to go to the doctor for nothing. And never been to the doctor, never taken any medicine. So I didn't want to go to the doctor. But my wife called me from the high school. She said, there's a young lady over here needs somebody to give blood for her. Now, this is God working. She needs one more person to give blood so she can get a cord for her gown, which I do all the time. I go to Jefferson County High School, TJ, whoever calls. I used to give blood a lot. Thermo King, we gave a lot of blood. Well, I went over to give blood that morning, and they pricked my finger when I went in. And she said, do you have low iron? And I said, no. I said, I've always give blood. She said, well, I see that. She said, but your hemoglobin is 8. I said, what does that mean? She said, well, you can't give blood today. It's God working now, just through this young girl. You can't give blood today. I said, well, you know me, I'm hard-headed. I said, try another finger. So they pricked another finger on my hand, 8.1. I thought the meter was wrong. I mean, I'm healthy. There's nothing wrong with me, right? But they wouldn't take my blood. So they said, you need to go to the doctor. Now, this was on a Thursday morning. I waited till Monday, went to Dr. Tanner, And when I got there, first thing she did, she drew some blood. My hemoglobin was 7.1. It dropped another point. And I know Josh and I was fighting a house fire that week before. And I came out, I said, Josh, you tired? He said, yeah, I'm tired. But I don't think he was tired as I was. I didn't realize that I was so sick. And now that I look back in the pictures, I see my complexion, I was real pale looking. So doctor told me, he said, you don't have any red blood cells in your body. It's a wonder you walking around being able to do anything. So in that time frame, that Friday, she took another blood sample from me, and it dropped down to 6.9. So she called me that Monday morning and told me, what are you doing? I said, I'm at Pansy's eating breakfast. We were sitting there eating breakfast. And she said, well, go get you 2 days worth of clothes and go to doctor's hospital. You got to go have a blood transfusion. I got to check in the hospital for that? Yeah, you got to check in the hospital. Ooh, I didn't want that. So I went over there and spent the morning at doctor's hospital. And when I got there, the doctor said, no, we don't give transfusions for under 8. We give it for under 7. So if you're above 7, you can go back home. So you know what? I started praying. I said, Lord, I don't want to stay in the hospital. I said, please let my blood be high enough where I don't have to get a transfusion. So they took my blood, 7.1. I came back home. I didn't have to stay that day. But she said, we're going to go ahead and get you set up for a colonoscopy. And he said, we're going to do the top and the bottom. So May the 16th, my birthday, I had to work that night at the school. So I started drinking the Go Lightly that night. And that's an oxymoron word, that go lightly. Go heavily. So I drank that first bottle at work. And before I got home, I said, I know I was going to be running late because I wasn't going to get off till 7. And I had to have it drunk by the next morning. They wanted me to have it drunk by midnight. So I had 2 of those big Gatorade bottles. And drunk the first one. And I was worried. I said, maybe I'll get home. It hadn't started working yet. So I got home and I said, this stuff don't work. So I opened that second bottle up and started on it. So then I went and got the GOM magazine and it camped out in the bathroom for the rest of the night. And it was working. So that next morning, on May the 17th, that's my son's birthday. We're a day apart. Through that whole process, like I said, this has been things that I remember, the dates. But when I got there, they said, well, you'll be in there about an hour, you'll be out, and everything will be good. That's what I'm praying for. And we go in, and they do the colonoscopy and everything, and I wake up and look at the clock, and it's 2 hours that went by. So the little nurse was in there, and I said, how did everything go? I was anxious, and she said, the doctor will be with you in a minute. She wouldn't tell me nothing. So, boy, I got nervous then. He came in. He said, I think we found the source of your anemia. You got a mass in your colon. And my mind just went blank then. That was the last thing I thought, that they were going to find a mass in there. Jennifer told me I probably had a small bleed or something. They could fix it while they were in there. But first thing I did, I looked up at him. I said, is it? And I couldn't even get it out of my mouth. He said, yeah. He said, I've been doing this a long time. He said, I pretty much guarantee it's cancer. And that changed my whole day right then. And he told me, he said, don't leave out of here and start Googling, looking at the internet. Well, what's the first thing I did when I got home? I got that cell phone out. Y'all know how that works. And I started looking at statistics. I didn't know then what I had. I just knew I had cancer. But I started Googling colon cancer. And I started looking at those statistics. And God told me right then, he said, put that phone down. He said, I made you. He said, I created you from dust. He said, you think I can't heal you? He spoke to me just like that. And I put that phone down. And why I sat there and worried about it, I don't know. So he told me to come back. He pinched the piece of it out or whatever in the office. And he said, it's too big to do here. We're going to take you to Doctor's Hospital in Augusta and do surgery on you. We're going to remove about 2 foot of your colon. Whoa, that sounded bad to me. I didn't want to hear that. But I went back in a couple of days, and he said, it's exactly what I thought it was. He said, you have colon cancer, and we're going to go ahead and schedule you for surgery. So they scheduled me for June the 2nd. June the 2nd, and I was supposed to be there. Surgery was going to be at 1 o'clock. Well, I got there, and Pastor Kane was there. First person I saw was Barry Wren. Barry Wren was there with his pastor and his wife, pastor's wife. She was having surgery. That's God. I mean, I was scared, slammed to death, y'all. I'm finna go back there and get cut on. get 2 foot of my colon taken out. That's something you couldn't imagine. And Barry met me there, hugged me, just loved on me. That meant the world to me because I was scared to death. So they said, we running ahead of schedule. Come on back. 11:30, they took me back there. And didn't waste any time. Went in, put me in surgery. And I woke up. It was 10 o'clock that night when I woke up. I was still in the recovery room. And I asked the nurse, I said, where's my wife at? Your wife? I said, yeah, my wife. Oh. Oh. So she left out and went out there. She'd been sitting there the whole time. And they let her come back in the recovery room. And I finally got in the room at 10 o'clock that night. And that was on June the 2nd. Whole time I was there, I was did really well. Did really well. Didn't understand nothing that was going on. Doctor came in the next morning, and he got on the whiteboard over there, and he said, we didn't have to take out as much as we thought. I said, is that good? He said, yes, that's very good. He said, we took a small section out. We didn't have to take 2 foot out. So he got on the board and started showing me how everything worked. And the nurse come in. She said, who's been drawing on my board? What youngin's been here on my board? I said, the doctor's been in here. Oh. So he thought some child had been over there drawing on the board, with but he told me, he says, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, he said, I had to, there was a spot on your liver while I was in there. And I said, in there? He said, yeah, we couldn't do it laparoscopic like we thought. We had to go ahead and open you up. So I'm in here with a gown on. Then I didn't want to look down there. I didn't want to see what was going on, But after that, he just took my gown and had all them pretty nurses with him. He didn't care. He just threw my gown up over my head. I couldn't see nothing, and went to pulling tape and stuff off. Well, when he left, I looked down in there then. I said, whoo. I didn't know I had 29 staples in me. He opened me up. He said, I had your liver in my hand. I had your kidneys in my hand. I had all this stuff in my hand. I was looking at you. We did a good exploratory surgery while we was in there. And he said, but I want to tell you, you got stage 4 colon cancer. And when I heard that stage 4, whoo, my day was going pretty good until that point. But being it left my colon and went to my liver, that they consider that metastatic stage 4 colon cancer. He said, I went ahead and took the spot off that I saw. So he actually took part of my liver off while he was doing colon surgery. He said, that's all I saw. He said, well, we're going to have to do some scans. So I stayed in the hospital 5 days. Tell you, God's been so good to me. They told me, he said, you're going to be probably out of work between 4 and 6 months. Well, I was out 4 weeks. I went back to work. God gave me the strength to go back to work. I sat there and watched Gunsmoke and MASH and all that stuff on TV. I couldn't watch no more of that. Every day, that's all I did was sit in that house, and the devil's still trying to talk to me. I'm trying to shake him off the whole time. But since then, I asked him, I said, I got vacation planned. Can I go on vacation? Yeah, go ahead and do what you want to do. Went on vacation. Everything went good. He said, we're going to go ahead and put a chemo port in you. So I'm like, wow, I got to go get cut on again. So they did that on July the 11th. I went up to Augusta and had a chemo port put in. Started chemo on July the 12th. So this past Wednesday was my 6th treatment. I've been doing chemo for 3 months. Everybody looks at me, they said, man, Mayor told me a while ago, said, man, you put some weight on, you look good. That's one thing the doctor told me. He said, you got to eat if you're going to take this chemo. So Pastor Kane will tell you, I try to eat all I can at breakfast in the morning and try to eat as good as I can to keep my levels up. But I go to Augusta every other Wednesday, and I'm basically in the chair for anywhere between 5 to 7 hours. Depends on, when I first get there, they have to draw your blood to see if you're able to take chemo that day. And if your level's okay, they'll let you have chemo. And God's blessed me. I've been able to take it every time. I'm one of those people, I said, if I'm going to Augusta, I want to get what I'm supposed to get. And they kept me at 100%. There's people beside me that's had to get 80%, 90%. Their body's not accepting it well. But I've been getting 100% every time. And he came in after 2 treatments. I shared this with Pastor Kane because he knows what I'm talking about. But after 2 treatments, my cancer level went down from 13 to 3. And they said that was remarkable. The doctor told me, he said, that's probably as good as I've ever seen. He said, your body is responding so well to the chemo. It's accepting the chemo. And so my mind, I'm thinking, I got two more spots on my liver. They were 1.5 centimeters and a half a centimeter right now. And I'm asking him, I said, is this chemo going to take those spots off. He said, well, it's possible, but it probably won't happen. Well, they did a scan after 4 weeks, and they were down in the millimeters. So that means they're decreasing in size. So the chemo is working on the tumors on my liver. So that's God working right there again. I'm thinking, last thing I want to do is have more surgery. So I got to go to Emory in Atlanta on the 30th of this month. And he has set me up with a pancreas liver surgeon up there. It's one of the best in the country. He said, if my family member had what you had, he said, this is who I'd go to. So I tell you this too, I got a Presbyterian oncologist, ex-Baptist. Pastor Kane, he had to tell me, well, he did one thing right. He changed from Baptist to Presbyterian. So that's one of those jokes, I talked to my doctor about it. He's a likable fellow. He's from Alamo, Georgia. He's an old country fellow like me, and we get along so good. But every time I leave his office, he prays with me. He said, can I pray for you, brother? So like I said, God has put people in my path, even the doctors, to be there for me. But they're looking at, I'm going to have some scans done when I get over there. And if they're going away, I won't have to do any more chemo if he does surgery. Excuse me. If he does surgery, I won't do any more chemo. He said he's going to stop at the 4-month mark. So I'm planning on doing 2 more this month to put me at 8. And through this whole process, I see people, me and John Cox talk about this because he had some of the same things happen when he went to chemo. But you go in there, you see so many people that's so much more sicker than you are. The people that come in that can't take treatment, that get their blood taken and they have to go back home. And I mean, some of these people don't live in Louisville. They live farther away than I do. And that's just, and they so sick. They can't even hold their head up off the pillow while they're taking it. I mean, it's a gruesome thing that you're not aware of that's around us. And that's why I say, don't be hard-headed like I was and not go to the doctor. I got a colonoscopy done at 51. I thought 50 was when you were supposed to do it. Now that I'm reading 45, 40, my doctor told me the youngest patient was 23. They didn't make it. Had colon cancer and died. Lost his life because of colon cancer at 23 years old. So right now, they say between 30 and 39 is the fastest growing rate right now. 30 to 39 years old. So if you wait to 40, you're probably too late. If it's there. But you don't know what to do. Like I said, go to the doctor and get checked out. That's one thing I beg of everybody. If you're not feeling good, go on, because I'm hard-headed. But I want to share that with y'all tonight and tell y'all about everything that God's done in my life. I told the mayor a while ago that I spoke at the Methodist breakfast the other morning. I spoke at Presbyterian breakfast Thursday morning, speaking out here tonight. And I've got several more engagements around that people's asked me to come and speak at. And I just want to say, none of this is about me. These songs that I sing tonight tells you right off the bat, I couldn't do none of this without God. I give him the glory for everything. Everything. The strength, me getting up this morning, I tell you the truth, when I got up this morning, they talk about that metal taste in your mouth. I had it. I hadn't been sick at all. I hadn't been nauseous at all through the chemo, which is a blessing. I told them that's why I quit drinking years ago, because I didn't want the hangover. I didn't want that the next morning. That's a terrible feeling to be sick like that. But I do have neuropathy in my hands and my feet, but God give me the strength to play the guitar tonight. My hands don't work like they used to. They're real tender. I can't drink anything cold for usually about Wednesday of this week. I may be able to start back drinking something with ice in it, but it affects my mouth because of my nerves. Chemo, they described it to me as it can't tell the difference between cancer cells and healthy cells. So it's eating the healthy cells up just as much as it is the cancer cells. So anything that reproduces, any cells that reproduce, it's targeting those. And it's a hard thing to do. But like I said, God's had me the whole time. As I sit there, I tell people, everybody always tells me they don't have time to do things. They don't have time to go to church. They don't have time to read the Bible. I said, be careful. God will make time for you. Because I study my Sunday school lesson while I'm in the chemo chair. That gives me 6 or 7 hours right there to dig into the lesson really, really good. And he made time for me to do that. So be careful what you ask for. Because he'll definitely give you time. But I know, everybody asks me, is it punishment? I know it's not punishment. It's God giving me an opportunity to talk to y'all tonight. Because I've been knowing most of y'all all my life. But I know there's probably somebody here tonight that don't know God. And and it's time, because the world we live in today, I don't think it's going to be much longer. He's going to have a belly full and come back. Like I said, he's just been a blessing to me, and I hope tonight that I've been a blessing to y'all with my little bit of singing and talking to y'all tonight, just sharing what he's done for me. And he's given me so many opportunities. Like I said, with my son, I'm able to share that with other people that's going through the same thing. This cancer that I'm going through right now, I'm able to talk to other people. I'm meeting all kind of friends up there in the place. The whole time I've been going on my 5th treatment, I got to see 3 young ladies ring the bell, finish their chemo up. And let me tell you something. They run around that place. They wasn't dry in that whole place. They were praising God the whole time for what God did in their life. And that's a big thing. You don't know if you're going to make it or not. But God knows. Like I said, Jeremiah 1:5 tells us he knew us before we was formed in our mother's womb. And I quote that verse a lot because I think about it. I sit back and think about it. I said, he knows. He already knows his plan. He's not surprised by anything. And I'm going through right now exactly what I'm supposed to go through. Like I said, some of those other decisions I made early on, that was my fault there. But God got me through it. And Pastor King talked about unanswered prayers. I thank God for them unanswered prayers he gave for me. Because I asked for some stupid stuff back in the day. I'm telling y'all. Who don't want to win the lottery? But what's the lottery going to get you? Get you a lot of heartache and trouble. Get you a lot of friends that ain't your friends, I tell you. And I don't need that. So he's blessed me, blessed beyond measure. I know I'm blessed. And I just appreciate y'all allowing me to speak to y'all tonight. And don't want to hold y'all supper back anymore. Thank y'all for allowing me to speak with y'all.